So, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is our time.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sorry.
Today is our time, 10:30, almost 31 now, 1st of April, 2023. So let me share with you all the book. But before that, let's do a quick prayer. Father, thou art in heaven. Here we are once again, together in this humble study, trying to know a little bit better what your son Kardec brought to us. Be with us. Give us the right intuition, the right perception to enjoy, to profit from this opportunity. Be with us today and always.
Amen.
Amen.
So let me reduce that here, otherwise I will not be able to read. Let me move that a little bit. Here we are. We have stopped last Saturday on the item 13. We have made comments about that, but the question was not finalized. So I will do the second part of the question today. But there are very good individuals who are nonetheless confronted with petty annoyances by evil spirits. If they are really good, it could be a test to exercise their patience and incite them to be better still. But don't believe that all those who always speak of virtue actually possess it themselves. Those who possess true moral qualities are nearly always unaware of them or do not talk about them. That's very true, isn't it? That's very true. And one of the main examples that come to my mind is Chico Xavier. He was by far the medium who produced more books ever. And he was very humble. So I think we need to follow examples. Is exorcism an effective means of expelling evil spirits from haunted places? Have you ever seen an effective exorcism? No, you haven't. On the contrary, haven't the troubles doubled after the exorcism's written? That is because such spirits love being taken from the devil. Spirits who have no evil intentions can also manifest their presence by making noises or even by making themselves visible. But they never do so to cause trouble. They are quite often suffering spirits for whom you can provide relief by praying for them. At other times, they are benevolent spirits who wish to show that they are with you, or finally, they may be frivolous spirits who are entertaining themselves. Since those who disturb the peace with noises are nearly always spirits who are amusing themselves, it is best simply to laugh at their antics. They will depart when they see that they can neither frighten nor vex you. See chapter Spontaneous Physical Manifestation. The result of the above explanation is that there are spirits who attach themselves to certain places and prefer to remain there. But they do not have to manifest their presence by perceivable effects. Any place at all may be obligatory to preferred dwelling of a spirit, even if it is an evil one, without ever having produced any kind of manifestation. Spirits who connect themselves to places or material things are never highly evolved, but just because they are not evolved, it does not mean they are evil or fed by evil intentions. At times, they are even companions who are more useful than harmful. For if they take an interest in certain persons, they may protect them. And that's the end of our chapter. Well, what can we take from that end? I think that we spoke. Go on.
So it's Christine. I was just going to respond with an answer or with a statement when you said, what can we take from that?
Mm-hmm.
What I think is that we can take that, first and foremost, that we have a bit more control about what we're experiencing if we do experience something along the lines of a spirit that is a bit mischievous, that we shouldn't be afraid. We should see it as it is, that it's another spirit as we are, and that we can help. It's an opportunity to help that spirit, not necessarily see it as something that is there to cause you grief. That we can actually, it's an opportunity to help a spirit.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with that. Hi, Liz.
Hi there. I'd like to make some observations and would appreciate some advice regarding my mum, who I've mentioned quite a few times. I'd like to list a few things that happened to her which were not particularly nice, and I'm not really sure what to do. Just after my dad died, I was about 2003, 2004 time, she'd gone out the house, and when she came back, the back door was open, the grill was on. Other things used to, move across the kitchen. Cups used to fall out. But the worst things were when she was sitting in the lounge, a spirit tried to pin her against the wall forcefully. And another one, or the same one, on a couple of occasions, has also tried to put weight on her chest, and it wasn't the cat, while she was in bed and she was struggling to breathe. Now, these aren't nice activities, and certainly not service to others when, the grill could have caused a fire and all sorts. So what is the situation under those circumstances and what to do?
Honestly, I think you know the answer already, because everything we do here is what? Is study. Study.
History, did you say?
Sorry?
Did you say history or study?
Study.
Study, okay.
Everything we do here is to give incentive to people to do good. We give incentive to people here to embrace the mediumship to what it is, i.e., make good use to help other people. And when I say other people, I'm also including spirits, discarnated spirits. There isn't a magic wand to say that's it. You don't have that anymore. No, there is a process. First of all, to accept, to study, to start to practice, because that's all I can say. Really, there isn't a magic formula. But if it's something is happening, it's to the person to really try to find why it's happening.
Well, that's what we've been trying to look into. She has a lot of lovely experience, don't get me wrong, you know, far more lovely experiences, an amazing experience than these ones. But when it happens, you know, she lives alone. She did have my cat with her, who was very spiritual and did protect her to a certain extent. But she's 91, otherwise she'd get on her laptop and most probably join us today. But she doesn't use a laptop anymore.
The only thing I can say is to pray for her,
I do.
because I honestly don't see nothing else coming to my mind, really. Because there is no age to start to study, right? But I understand the age could impose some limitations. There is no age to perform charity, but I also understand that the physical limitations due to the age may be making things very difficult to try to do something actively. So I would say it's prayer. It's prayer.
Well, she's halfway through the gospel at the moment, and I've sent her the Spiritist book. And then the next ones I'll send are Heaven and Hell and the Medium's book. So she is studying them every day.
Gil, it's Christine again. Can I just make a comment, if I could, to Liz? Where Gil just said, it is since those who disturb the peace with noises are nearly always spirits who are amusing themselves, it is simply best to laugh at their antics. I mean, I know you're saying your mother's 91 and it's she's has limitations that someone who's younger may be able to deal with a lot quicker. Perhaps it's that there's someone that goes and stays with her for a bit. She goes and stays somewhere else, because as I was giving an example of my uncle talking about spirits in their house and their grandson next door, and someone said to me, I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was, that perhaps the spirits were attached to the house, not the person. So that may be the case here.
Yeah, she's already got 2 of those. It's sporadic. It's quiet at the moment, but she doesn't have anywhere to stay. She's very with it mentally. And it was just trying to find an explanation, a reason why. Because if you get to the root cause, then there's more chance of doing something. But she does pray every day, and we were wondering if she could have been given in her prayers, an answer as to why it was happening.
How old she was when those events have started?
Well, they first happened when she was 16 in Lichfield. She was a waitress in a Tudor place, and they used to sleep in the garret, her and another waitress. And they got very frightened because of her unknown mediumship skills. The 2 beds used to crash together, and candlesticks used to go all over the room at night, and she was very afraid to sleep. So she closed herself down at that time. But she does kind of, tell us some things that come true and things like that. But she's very, very hesitant about opening herself up because of that. She doesn't feel she can control it.
Something that comes to my mind is that fear, prejudgment. No, I'm not speaking about her. I'm speaking about in general terms, right? Prejudgment. Don't want to be seen as studying or to practicing something related to spirits, because let's be honest, not many people will accept that straight away. And lack of people prepared to help. Because even among the spiritists, sometimes you don't have any near where you are. And if you do, sometimes they also feel like, no, I cannot help for some reason. So I understand the problem, and I'm pretty sure she's not the only one, especially in a place where we don't have many mediumship meetings, where we don't have many spiritist gatherings, right? So I see a problem there, right? Lack of structure to support something like that. For example, if that was in Brazil when she was 16 or something,
Exactly.
someone would come, wow, you have a problem with the spirits, go to a spiritist center. And then eventually you may decide to go or not, it's up to you. But
She
I'm
would
pretty
have
sure
done.
someone would come and say, go for it. You know, I had the pleasure to see even doctors saying, I cannot help you here, go to spiritist center. So, but it's a different scenario, you know. Here, chances are you're going to be put in an asylum or in a clinic to be treated. So I don't have an answer. And
I think that was right, Graham. I think that may be her underlying fear about, you know, because she's always believed in spirit, and but people around her more conservative, even though, you know, her children, all of us, you know, we discuss it openly. Luckily, her carer is a medium and has seen my brother on the stairs and spoken to my brother on the stairs, and she hasn't witnessed any of the nasty things going on, luckily. So so she does have somebody else to talk to who visits her regularly. Thankfully. Yeah. But thank you for that.
yeah, honestly, the only thing I can see at that stage is praying. I'm praying a lot for her. What do you think, Munir? What am I missing here?
Well, she doesn't think about it. She blocks it so she's not evoking as well. She's purposely not doing that.
Sometimes we do without even thinking.
Yeah.
Hi,
What
Damien. Hi, everyone. Yeah. I think, yeah, what you said is right, Damien. It's important to carry on studying, not to pay too much attention to, you know, if you think they're joking and also pray for them, whoever they are. If they have good intentions, they will like your prayers. If they have evil intentions, you know, you'll be doing something for them. And, you know, just live your life. But study is very important, especially at this age where, you know, practice becomes a bit more difficult to do, especially in the group on a regular basis.
Thank you.
Something you said when you came to my mind. Someone closer to me is having some spiritual difficulties right now. And his family sharing information. Let's pray so this spirit can go away. This is not the right attitude. I never said it. I didn't say anything because it wouldn't be very well taken. But that's not what we should do. If we are having a situation where spirits are around us, or in that case, for example, that Liz brought to us, they need help. They need help. Pushing them away, you're only looking after yourself, and perhaps that will continue to give more munition to that scenario to continue. So it's very difficult. I understand when we are suffering something is very difficult. But if we are suffering something, because we have to, could be a wake-up call, could be a payback, could be a lot of things. But we don't experience opportunities that we do not deserve. And that's a common mistake we do.
Yeah.
So if we do have a scenario like that, let's pray for them, for him, for her. Let's try to help them. And help them, I'm helping myself too. That's the true mechanism. That's the true mechanism. And that is how important it is to have mediumship meetings. A lot of people think why we need mediumship meetings. This is a primary answer. What we do on a spiritist mediumship meeting is help the spirits. And as we don't have many, I can guarantee that the queue is quite long. So how can we help them if we don't make ourselves available to help them? It's a good question. Oh, I have two hands. I didn't see that. Oh, Charles. Hi, Charles. You first.
I think Elzoli rose the hand first.
Oh, okay. Elzoli first then.
Zoom is classifying the rank of.
Okay.
Yep. Good morning, people. I remember, because it's very interesting to hear this topic. I remember when I took my first contact with Spiritist doctrine, I learned the Great Enigma and Astral City, and I had an spirit centers. I usually studied mediums, spiritist book and gospel. And but it was in the beginning I was spiritist, only some money, and not 1 year. And I remember I was decided. When at the end of a book, Great Enigma, and the Astral City, I don't know what happened with me. I took me in my kidney said, Father, I would like to take this wonderful doctrine to more people who would like to know, maybe so. And I do when I pray. And believe me, I said in the night, that night, it was I don't know what to say in English, baratas, kakalaka in Swedish. In my room, and I knew that it was too afraid to make me afraid, but I didn't. I said, no, it's not exist, and disappeared. Another time, another night, it was my man. He was a medium. We didn't know. I didn't know anything in mediumship also. And he tried to put me out bed in the middle of night and look at me and put out. So no with violence, but continue. And I said, you're good. He isn't him. Though I took contact with another side, so you did it. This is another side. And I saw, it was one book in near bed, and it was Carvalho Schutter. And I got here, Carvalho, please help me now. I don't know what I will do. Guilherme, my voice, it was so strong, so strong. I think it was Carvalho Schutter voice. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it was so strong. Say, now you are asleep. And then, sleep? Okay. So, my husband started to sleep. So, because it is, I think it is in this part of study is about manifestation of spirits. Maybe they are not good spirits, but sometimes I think when you start way live, they try to they try take us out of the good way, and but it's only because they are ignorant also, and but so then stop then type of a phenomenon that stop of no more. So only here, and I already talked to here about the phenomenon, the physical phenomenon, and it was one magician. Or he needs help. He was help, so it wasn't a bad spirit, and it was this. But I don't. Usually, I don't have manifestations. Bad. No.
Okay.
I don't know if you understood. It was totally. It's not good. My English today. It was so bad.
Good example.
But
good example. What about you, Charles?
Yes. So hello everyone. I apologize for not being able to join last Saturday, but I mean, building on the comments just made, the items you read last Saturday, item 12, answer to item 12, we have spirits around us anytime. And item 13, saying also that the best way to get rid of the bad spirits is to attract the good ones by doing good. I think here you have everything.
I totally agree with that. This is the formula. This is the formula. But going back to a little bit of what we've spoken here in the end of this chapter about exorcism. Nowadays, people think they do not exist anymore. No, they do. They do. And I had an opportunity to not to see one, but to see the consequences of one, where the teenager, he was bitten to promote the exorcism. So what happened to the spirit? He's still there, laughing. So going back to the formula, if we do good, we attract good spirits. May not be sufficient, but is a strong help in that direction. So, if no one wants to make any other comment, what time is it? 11, we have half an hour, so we can start with the nature of communication. Any other comment before we go? Yeah.
No, just to say that, if something is happening, there is a purpose for that. Nothing is in vain. And what we should try to do is, within a charitable, with a charitable purpose in mind, we should do what we can do best And when we improve ourselves, we are already doing something. And I said, pray for the spirit, because, ask for help and assistance to offer something. As I said, if it's a good spirit, we receive that, and it's going to be very nice. If it's a needy spirit, also benefactors will come. But we should always see the situation as something we need to go through for a certain purpose. Perhaps to be aware of something, perhaps to study something we are not studying or paying attention, or perhaps even to encourage us to go and do the moral, how would I say, I wouldn't say moral, but our personal improvements that we've been postponing for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Good one. Good one. So let's start now the chapter 10. The nature of communications. Crude communications, frivolous communications, serious communications, instructive communications. As we're going to start to talk about communications, I strongly recommend people to really study this matter. But is study without prejudging the information. Something that I like to say quite often is, we understand what we want to understand. When we read a text, regardless of the way it's written, what is the true message that's written in that sentence, sometimes we are looking the answer we want in that sentence. And that is sufficient to us. But I encourage you all not to do that, but to try to see more than one interpretation at least. So like that, you have a doubt about which one is right, and that will push you to study furthermore. So that will help the way. We have stated that every effect revealing the act of a free will as its cause. We have stated that every effect revealing the act of a free will as its cause, and no matter how insignificant it may be, proves that such a cause is in fact an intelligent one. Well, we are here together for weeks, so I hope that by now you truly believe that. Otherwise, I don't know what you're doing here. Thus, the simple movement of a table which has responded to our thought or which displays intentional character may be regarded as an intelligent manifestation. Yes, he's making a reference from the very beginning, right? When we had the turning tables. If table moving were all that happened, we would not be nearly as interested in the matter. However, we have received proof, and there is more than simple physical action in this phenomena. Any practical usefulness that we could derive from them would be zero, or at least very limited. However, everything changes when this intelligence reaches a point where a regular and continuous exchange of ideas may ensure. Look at that here. Regular and continuous exchange of ideas. Why that is important? Because only after we are able to establish a pattern that would allow us to recognize the intentions, the character, even who is the spirit writing, then we start to work on it. At such a point, they can no longer be treated as a simple intelligent manifestations, but as a true communication. Manifestation in my eyes is a noise, a rap. As soon as I make a question, I have an answer, that becomes a conversation, communication. The means at our disposal nowadays that enable us to receive them are as extensive, explicit, and rapid as those we have with one another. Interesting that at that point, Kardec already could compare what was in the beginning with the turning table and what he was leaving at a time with the mediums writing directly or speaking directly without the need of a table or baskets or whatever. So Kardec was proactive in accept different ways of communication. If we have fully understood the infinite variety of spirits as to their intelligence and morality according to the spirit's hierarchy, spirit's book, we will easily comprehend the differences in their communication. I think that's just very straightforward, isn't it? We don't expect someone that is a PhD to speak in the same manner that someone that just started the school, right? We don't expect someone that is a doctor to speak about something he does not understand. Likewise, we don't expect someone that had very little study to speak about medicines. So I think that's straightforward. Their communications must necessarily reflect the nobility or baseness of their ideas, their wisdom or ignorance, and their vices and virtues. In other words, their communication no more resemble one another than the communications of people of literate, more educated culture among humans. The different types of communications can be classified into 4 main categories according to their predominant characteristics. And this word here in particular is quite often forgotten when people start to analyze messages, communications. Let's think about ourselves. Are we calm all the time? Are we polite all the time? No, we are not. So it's not because one word may not be what you want to see in a message that this whole message should go astray, should go on the bin. I would recommend, as we spoke here a little bit before, to evaluate the sequence of messages. What are the intentions? What is the outcome of the message received? Characteristics, they may be crude, frivolous, serious, or instructive. And then people ask, how can you evaluate information that are coming from the other side if you don't see, if you don't hear, if you don't have anything that you can prove what is coming, or if it's true, if it's not true? That's a very important question. I'll let you speak very soon, Daniel. But there's one thing that's very important: the outcome, the result of what the message is bringing to us. And there is another thing that's very important in the spiritist realm, is the animism. So this message is not from the spirits, from you. So throw that on the bin. What if the message was good? We need to understand better what animism is. And not many people do. They are very quick to judge, but not so quick to study. And nevertheless, any message that may come to us, we need to see the results. Sometimes the message can be very nice, to read, telling nice things, but the outcome may not be so positive. So to people
Jill,
that
it's-
are,
sorry.
go, Christine.
Sorry, it's Christine again. I had and I'm not sure if I mentioned this. I was at my friend's place, my best friend's place, a couple of weeks ago, and I smelt, it wasn't a manifestation as in a spirit before me or anything flying or anything like that. It was a smell. And it was the perfume that my mother and my best friend's mother, who were best friends also, that they both used to wear. So I stood there and the intensity of this smell of perfume was very strong. And I thought to myself at that point, why all of a sudden in my friend's place am I getting this smell of the perfume when I've been here many times and I hadn't, it never had happened before. And you may recall that last week I wasn't here. Well, that was, my friend ended up having a heart attack. And I'm thinking now, was that the smell that I smell, which I feel was a communication, was that an indication that I guess an instructive characteristic, if you like, communication, to say you need to be around, you need to be close, you need to be aware that we're here and we're here for a reason, and that my friend ended up in hospital and I went and helped her after that. So I don't know if putting, as we say, 2 and 2 together equals 4, but that's what I'm starting to see when we're starting to talk about the communication, that the communication mightn't necessarily be something related to something that's going to happen right there and then, but might be something that's an indication of it's going to happen in the near future or down the track sometime. Would that be something that you'd think would be on the right train of thinking?
I don't know. My honest answer is I don't know. I don't have enough information to evaluate. From what you said, if I want to look in that way, the only thing I can say, yes, you had an spirit and then you were able to smell the perfume, like we are able to smell ether sometimes in some rooms, or even flower perfumes as well. So that's, I know it does exist and it's happening more often than we think. But to extend that to some other conclusions, I cannot. I wouldn't be fair if I would start to elaborate about that. But I'm not saying it's not. Could be. I don't have information enough to evaluate, right? But a message, a communication, could be in many ways. And if you cannot hear, you cannot see, but you can smell, perhaps the only way that the person knows how to make you think about them or to realize they are around you is to bring in that smell, that path, and that you know. So it's a true possibility. But I would not be attaching that event to anything else. I don't know. I really don't know. That is a possibility. I would not discard that. Hi, Daniel. Now is yours.
No worries. I was just trying to find, because the topic is you mentioned to not discard some information and how to analyze some of the contents that are coming, and it just came to my mind. I'm not finding what university was, but they analyzed Chico Xavier content, and the result was that from the literature point of view, universities of the language that we know that it could not be possible to be from just one person, because all of these signs that are well studied on the universities and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of knowledge around how to analyze the content that the human writes, to validate information, to see correlation, to see the line of stuff. And obviously we can add to that content, but Kardec was already in some way, if I may say, was delineating the ways of doing that.
In a way of that line of thought, there were events where Chico Xavier has been exposed some tests to the point that the calligraphy, the way of writing of the spirit and his signature was validated by professionals saying, yes, this is exactly the same signature from the person when was alive. So it's very difficult to replicate a signature, and yet this professional was able to demonstrate that the signature from the spirit was the same the person had when was alive. So yes, there are ways, there is more than one way to give that confidence. But there's one thing: if you deep in your heart do not believe in anything, you can have any proof, scientific proof, and that will not be enough for you to change your point of view, right? Because sometimes we are very stubborn. We create truth, and that truth is the only one that matters. Even if I had tons of proof that what I did is wrong, but no, I don't change my mind. So it's difficult. So, crude communications. What time is it? We still have time. Crude communications are those containing expressions that shock the decorum, then can only come from spirits of the lowest order, who are still soiled by all the impurities of matter. And there is nothing different about them than the expressions used by depraved and crude human beings. Any person with a minimum amount of sensitivity is repulsed by them. For they are trivial, ignoble, obscene, insolent, arrogant, malevolent, and even impious, depending on the character of the spirit. This one is easy to identify, right? It's like even when we are incarnated, you go to a place and you start to talk to people, you identify straight away. That's not my kind of language. That's not what I do. That's not what I like. So this one is straightforward. It's easy to identify. Frivolous communications. Frivolous communications are those from frivolous, mocking, and mischievous spirits, who are more cunning than downright evil and who give no importance to anything they say. Since these communications have nothing improper about them, they please certain individuals who find them entertaining and who find satisfaction in useless conversations in which much is talked about nothing is actually said. These spirits sometimes let loose their witty and beating tirades, often mixing banal jokes with hard truth that nearly always hit with great accuracy. And when we are reading the text, we can think about incarnated beings that are like that, isn't it? Frivolous spirits are the ones who swarm around us and use every opportunity to meddle in our spirit's communications. Truth concerns them very little, and thus they feel a malicious pleasure in befuddling, I have no idea what that means, those who are weak and predisposed enough to believe their words. And that kind of statement here is scare a hell lot of mediums. They do not want to be considered like that. They do not want to have spirits like that giving communication through them. So what they do, they shut the door. And some of them,
Gil,
yes?
sorry, Gil, I was just going to, as Christine, I was just going to say befuddling is like confusing.
Oh, thank you. I love when someone help me like that, because I really do not have any idea what it means.
Mystify in French.
Oh, good, 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 good. Thank you. And how many mediums stop on the very beginning because they were afraid of it? Because someone made a comment in the right moment, in the wrong time. Sorry, the wrong comment in the wrong time. We are by nature insecure when we start in mediumship. And then we have someone that's very eager to analyze everything. And he starts to analyze that in front of the person. That could be the end of that medium. And then, which is the responsibility of this person? Because we are responsible for our actions. So it's very important to have a step back, to analyze, to study again. And sometimes we need time to be able to produce a theory. Hi, Yasmin.
Oh, please, you can finish.
No, go on. I think I
talk
finished
about
already.
after you.
I think I
Okay.
finished already.
Okay.
Yeah.
I reading that, I just remembered, I don't know which book of Allan Kardec it was, but it was just mentioning that, of course, we can expect good communications, but we shouldn't forget that the Earth is also not very high elevated place, and that mostly spirits on the Earth or around Earth are lower level spirits, as we are. We can't fool ourselves saying that we are high level spirit. And so that mostly, I think 90% of the spiritual population. And I don't remember which book it is, I'm sorry, but mostly one of the purpose of mediumship meetings are to help the spirits, not only to have good and elevated communications, but also to help these spirits, because, yeah, I don't remember. I'm sorry, I really don't remember which book it is. It's a waste of time, I think, or maybe that's my opinion, but it's also a waste of time to only expect good communications. And yeah, and also one thing I wanted to say earlier, but I was like, we also are prone to criticize others based on our past experiences and our feelings and our beliefs, but we also forget to thank that person. It was in a book from Divaldo Franco. I don't remember which book, but there is he describes a case of a medium who got the communication after the family asked for it, and the family denied the communication. But everyone was criticizing the medium, saying like, oh no, that's not like her, she doesn't speak like that usually. But no one thanked her for giving the communication. I mean, we do not need to be thanked, but it's more important to be careful, to give attention to people's feeling, which is something called empathy too, and we lack of empathy. We clearly lack of empathy, otherwise we would not be here. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say with that. Thank you for listening to me.
Cool. So let me take a few things about what you said. One, mediumship meeting. A mediumship meeting is a balance. In a mediumship meeting, we have mainly suffering spirits, but we also have information from our guides, from our mentors. We also have good messages, but this could not be the reason for the meeting, right? If the meeting is just to expect good message from good spirits, beware of that, because that's not normal. And if that's happening, chances are you may be tricked, right? Second thing is you said about empathy, right? Empathy is a problem because we don't have that enough to our neighbors. How should we expect to have empathy to spirits in a meeting or to our colleagues in a meeting? So it's very difficult. But something that I always like to remind people is that a medium is a medium. An indoctrinator is an indoctrinator. There's a lot of medium trying to analyze their own message, and I do not encourage that. I do not encourage that because he will read something on the medium's book, and he will start to identify things as he's afraid or she's afraid, and she will block. She will stop. A medium is a medium. It's a way of passing the message. And the indoctrinators, they are the people that are supposed to be studying continuously, supposed to be considering every possibility when he's evaluating a message. And after a period of time or a sequence of message, he may start to elaborate some theory about that message. And even sometimes we are not able to, and if we do have access, we ask our benefactors for help. It's not an easy task. But a lot of charitable people, because they are very eager to share what they think, they could stop a medium in the beginning. Let's be honest. The way things work is very difficult to a medium to come to a mediumship meeting, especially here in Europe. But I'm talking about my home country. Even in my home country, it's difficult to a medium to have access to a mediumship meeting. He has so many barriers, not created by Kardec, not created by the spirits, but there are barriers nevertheless. They have to cross to be able to arrive to a mediumship meeting. And when they do, someone get a message, this is animism. Oh, this is a faking spirit. You may finish his career as a medium in the very beginning, or you will create, if the person is persistent, will try and try again, but deep inside her head or his head, I'm not capable. That could happen. That could be happening all the time. And then you block, you close the door. So we need to be very careful. Best way ever, study, create a pattern that you are able to identify the spirit, the intentions, project the outcome. Why is he or she saying that? I'll let you speak shortly, Liz. It has to be very short by the time. I'll stop talking now.
I was just going to observe the time, that's all.
Okay, thank you. And let's think about two types of message. With the same signature, I'll use the name of a very nice spirit, Bezerra de Menezes. I received a message from Bezerra de Menezes, give me the instructions to study, create another work, help others. Only positive things. And I have another message signed by the same spirits in theory. You have to study. You have to do work. You should stop teaching kids. You should continue giving soup. I just use an example, like teaching kids, for example. It doesn't make sense. The other points make sense, but that one in particular does not make sense. But when we read too fast, we do not interpret it, we do not find it strange, and we do it. So things can be very subtle in a message. That was just an example that came to my mind. But anyway, as Liz pointed me out, I'm late. And it's time to close our study today. So, Munir, can you do our final prayer today, please?
Yes, okay. Let's just close our eyes, join our thoughts, our hearts, with a word of thanksgiving to the benefactors, and above them all, our Master Jesus, for allowing us to be here today, to join the study, to benefit from it. Now it's our turn to put into practice what we've learned here, with a good heart, with a good intention, bearing in mind that charity is the way to salvation. Be with us, beloved Master, throughout the whole week. So be it.
So be it. Nice to have you all here. I'm looking forward to see you guys again in a week time. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend, you all.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.